Mark chapter 14 verses 66 to 72. Now as Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came, and when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, "You also were with Jesus of Nazareth." But he denied it, saying, "I neither know nor understand what you are saying." And he went out on the porch, and a rooster crowed. And the servant girl saw him again, and began to say to those who stood by, "This is one of them." But he denied it again. And a little later, those who stood by said to Peter again, "Surely you are one of them, for you are a Galilean, and your speech shows it." Then he began to curse and swear, "I do not know this man of whom you speak." A second time the rooster crowed. Then Peter called to mind the word that Jesus had said to him, "Before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times." And when he thought about it, he wept. The book of John describes the situation in today's reading in more detail than Mark's account. Sometime after Jesus' arrest, John and Peter decided to follow him to the scene of his trial. John was able to enter the courtyard because he was known by the high priest, but Peter had to remain outside. There the guard and servants had made a fire to ward off the cold, and Peter joined them. In the meantime, John asked the doorkeeper, a servant girl, to let Peter in. The girl recognized Peter among the guards and wanted to confirm her suspicions, asking, "You also were with Jesus of Nazareth." But Peter denied that he was associated with Jesus. He had spent 3.5 years with Jesus, but now he disowned him. Then he went outside into the entryway, and a rooster crowed. The sound was not uncommon to Peter, but should have shocked him into awareness, bringing to mind Jesus' prediction of his denial, but he didn't. Seeing him again, the girl said, "This is one of them." She identified Peter as a follower of Jesus, but he denied it again. He renounced his own identity. On one occasion, this same man had said to Jesus, "See, we have left all and followed you." Now he was denying that he was one of Jesus' disciples. Even after disavowing any association with Jesus, Peter stayed at the courtyard. A little later, a bystander told him, "Surely you are one of them, for you are a Galilean, and your speech shows it." This time he invoked a curse on himself as he swore, "I do not know this man of whom you speak." Now he was denying that he even knew Jesus. His betrayal was immediately followed by the sound of the rooster crowing for a second time. The intensity and severity of Peter's denial progressed, from denying association with Jesus to denying his discipleship to denying his Lord. We could admire Peter for following Jesus to the high priest's house, while the other 9 disciples fled for their lives. Yet he was not ready to give up everything to follow Jesus. He who had so often boldly expressed his love and faith in his Master caved in to the fire of temptation. When Jesus prayed before he was arrested, he denied himself 3 times, and reaffirming his commitment to follow the Father's will. But Peter denied Jesus 3 times for the sake of his own safety. Would it have made a difference to Peter's story if he had prayed like his Lord, asking that the Father's will be fulfilled? Judas sold his master. John fled, but returned to follow Jesus and stayed closer to him than the rest of the disciples. Peter also fled and returned to follow Jesus, but ended up denying his Lord 3 times. The remaining 9 disciples fled and did not come back at all. Where do I find myself among the 12? May God enable us to pray like Jesus prayed, so that we can stay by His side, not flee in fear.